How's it going? Steve Palomares here, and I am now going to give you a business level intro to AI. In this video, that's what we're going to talk about. In the next video, we're going to talk about the language of AI, which is called prompting. And I firmly believe that the person that knows how to prompt the best will get the best results out of AI. All right, let's push forward into AI. Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence in machines. It's designed to think and act like humans, even though it's not. So while I'm not going to get into all the components that makes up AI, I'm going to talk about a few of the important components so you can better understand how to use it and really understand the limitations, especially the limitations in business, because it can hamper you. Several key technologies drive the functionality of AI. Machine learning is one of them, and machine learning are the algorithms that learn from different types of data. And these machines are essentially able to make decisions that simulate human intelligence. Now, the data that's used to train AI is called the large language model, or LLM. Now, this gives it its capabilities, but also limitations, and can lead to wrong answers. And if you think about it, depending on the data that it's trained on, it has the ability to only answer so much. And even the most recent versions of ChatGPT, for example, were trained up to the end of 2023, and we're in late 2024, right? So just understand the limitations of your LLM, and every AI assistant has a different LLM. It's important to know that. Every AI assistant, like ChatGPT, has its strength and weakness. For instance, I use Claude by Anthropic for writing, and I've just found that it's better than ChatGPT for writing. Now, I also use something called Perplexity AI, and the great thing about it is it can search the web. It serves as a great search engine because it has access to real-time data. Now, let's get back to the components of AI. One other concept is called natural language processing. That means that it gives you the ability to interpret and generate human language or human-like language. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in the way that you talk to AI, in that you can do it in almost all human language. Now, we're going to talk about prompts in a minute, so we'll get into more of that then. Now, the last concept I want to mention is computer vision. As it might sound, it is vision, and it means that these AI assistants can actually respond to and interpret things that are fed into it. Like, you can take a screenshot of a website or take in PDF documents that are images, and that AI assistant, especially ChatGPT does this very well, can give you feedback on actually these drawings, these graphs, these website screen caps. So you have some flexibility there. Now let's talk a little bit about these AI assistants, and there are a lot of them out there. These AI assistants, they do have some limitations, like the data recency of their LLM, but things like Claude and Perplexity and Copilot, they're all going to have strengths based on the algorithms that they run on. Think of them all as virtual robot assistants, and they're all going to have strengths in the way that they do research, the way that they ideate, the way that they help you brainstorm. But this is all functionality that they do have. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to think about them in just 1 second, and it'll then give you the best way to interact with them. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about AI assistants in a second, but just remember the limitations of these AI assistants like ChatGPT, in that their language model that they've been trained on may be old. So data recency is an issue. Data quality can be an issue. And just know, if you're asking it for information, that it may come up with the wrong answer if it doesn't have the data that you need in its language model. So just make sure that you test for that so that you don't get the wrong answer and go into a client meeting with bad data or bad results. Now let's talk a little bit more about AI assistants, things like ChatGPT. There are a bunch of them out there, but they basically can understand human language. So not only can you speak to it in human language, it will return results in human-like text. They're really great for things like brainstorming, ideating, and they can build things like documents, books, speeches. So there's a lot of different capabilities that you have in using AI assistants. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to think about them, things like ChatGPT, so that you understand how best to communicate with them. Let me give you an example of the way you should think about AI assistants. Think about your AI assistant as an online virtual robot, right? That's available for you 24/7. It doesn't get tired. It's not emotional. And that it's like a really, really smart kid. Someone, maybe this kid that knows everything, learns really fast, but it has no ability to talk or have really good conversations. So it's not street smart, it doesn't have common sense. Just think about it that way. An example that I'll give you is this show called The Good Doctor. I don't know if you've seen it. I've only watched it a couple times, but it's about this doctor who's is a savant, incredibly smart, and he goes around solving really difficult cases, but at the same time, he actually is very awkward with his clients, right? So he has given wrong diagnosis, freaked people out, and that's something that your AI assistant can do with you. If you don't give it enough context, it may give you a pretty wild answer, right? And that's called hallucination, when they hallucinate. I would just say don't get discouraged. If they do that, you probably have not given it all the information, or maybe it hasn't keyed on the right information. So I would either remove some things, make things more clear in different areas, or provide it additional information. And like I mentioned before, you can feed in pictures, you can feed in video, you can feed in screen caps of websites or documents. And as you'll see when we get to prompting, the more data you give it, the better that it's going to do. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and get moving on. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to correctly prompt, how to speak the language of AI. And we'll get into that next.